I'm Stephen W. Long, and this is The Writing Life. And you know, several years ago, in fact, I think it was 7 years ago, I had the opportunity to interview a young lady who had written a pretty remarkable book, given that she was 12 when she started it and 13 when she finished it. And it was a thrill for me to see this kind of talent, but also because she was my granddaughter. And today I have the opportunity to interview her sister. This is Katie Hoyt. And the reason that this got initiated is this year Katie entered the Paper Gardens Writing Contest, 2 entries, both were selected. And if you count the students who entered, there were over 400, I think maybe 425. And so it's really quite an accomplishment. So first let me say welcome, Katie.
Thank you. It's nice to be on the show.
Well, it's great to have you. I'm going to have you read your piece, but I think I want to start with, you've not done a lot of writing, or at least that's what you said.
Correct. I wrote a lot of poetry in elementary and middle school, mostly haikus. And I began working on a novel when I was 14.
Oh, you
I
did?
made it a
Okay.
few chapters in
Okay.
and had major brain block.
Sure.
And didn't make it any farther. I have a copy buried somewhere in a box.
Okay.
God knows where, but that's the last thing I've written. So
Yeah.
It's been 15 years or so.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about that. But just to get us started, why don't you go ahead and read the piece, the longer piece
Okay.
that was entered.
All right.
And then I've got some questions about that.
Absolutely. All right. My prose is called Last Night I Dreamt That I Was Old. Last night I dreamt that I was old. I look in a mirror and I'm surprised to see a woman nearing 100 that looks a bit like me. My hair is thin and in pearly shades of grays and whites. My face is looser than I remember it being, lined by years I don't remember living. My eyes are what I recognize as my own, still stormy blue and kind. They look tired and a little faded, but yes, those eyes are mine. Tearing my eyes off of my new reflection, I see I'm surrounded by people I know. But they can't actually be here. They all look the same as I remember. All of my family looks exactly how they did 70 years ago, so I know with sadness that they are gone, but have peace knowing that I won't be separated from them much longer. They are here to greet me. Suddenly, they fade away, and I'm left with one person. I know with certainty that he is my now grown-up grandson. Though I don't remember much about him, I do know I love him. We carry on a conversation for a while. He asks me if I'm afraid. With all the gray areas between the good and the bad that life has to offer, am I at all concerned with where I will go once I pass? I give a small laugh and explain to him that no, I'm not worried. In the grand scheme of things, I love Jesus and he loves me back, and I know where I will be soon. The gray areas were just life's way of making my story interesting. I'm laying down in a small bed now. I reflect pensively on how our stories play out for those of us that have the opportunity to die of old age. Each story is different, but somehow we're all linked. Our story is all the same to a degree. We begin in the wee, dark morning hours of our infancy, and all we want to do is sleep. Our lives brighten with sunshine and energy, and we do everything we can while we still have the light of day. We build, we grow, we are productive. Sunset comes and we start to settle in. We get cozy. We take advantage of the leisure that comes at the end of a busy day. We prepare ourselves for the coming night. It is dusk in my life now, and like the early infant mornings, I can hardly keep my eyes open. I fall asleep as I wake up. I grow aware that I am in a bigger bed, warm, with my husband by my side and my cats curled up by our feet. I wake up somber from my dream. 27-year-olds simply aren't ready for dusk when we are still immersed in sunshine.
So, a couple of things. I'm assuming that this was a real dream.
It was.
Okay.
I woke up and I woke up crying. It was a very potent dream. And I immediately grabbed my phone and I started writing down in my notes on my phone
Oh, really?
everything in the dream, how I remembered it being.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure. I'm certainly not a therapist or something, but like they say on TV, to unpack this, it for the one thing, it seems very mature.
Oh, thank you.
Perceptive, maybe is a better word. When you wrote this down, I'm wondering how much analysis you did after the fact. I guess maybe that's the way to say it. So, did you have these realizations as you were dreaming?
I'd say so, yeah. The way I wrote it all down is very much how I dreamt it, that at the beginning of my dream, I was looking in the mirror.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, I was laying down in a bed, and there were all my family members by my side that I remembered. And then they faded away, kind of ghost-like, like a mist. And
Sure.
my grandson was there. And yeah, I wrote it down as closely as I could to how
Yeah.
it was in my head.
Yeah. So I think wonderful writing. It also makes me think, I've talked to people who said, well, I could never be a writer. I don't have that kind of imagination. And I don't believe that. And the reason I don't is this kind of thing. And not, you don't maybe fall in that category of not writing. But I think probably everyone dreams and isn't dreaming telling yourself a story. So I don't know where to go from there. Where did this come from? Why do you think you did? Was it a bad pizza dinner or something? Any thoughts on that?
Nope. It was definitely a much more vivid dream than I'm used to having.
Sure.
And I think that's why I was able to make something out of it. It was such a powerful, visceral dream that I was just overcome when I woke up. Like I said, I was crying, and I needed to get it written down so I wouldn't
Sure.
forget it.
I can see visceral. Some of the details, I mean, we can all see that, but I'm wondering with such a young person to think about wrinkly skin or being tired as an older person as you are when you're an infant. To have that perception, I think that's pretty amazing.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Now I have to challenge you a little bit because
Sure.
we talked earlier. You said you don't write much. You actually wrote a bill, didn't you? Was it the state senate?
Yeah, back in high school, for my government class, I had to write a bill and present it to the Capitol in Denver, Capitol building, and it was vetoed. But it was about banning the use of systemic pesticides because our bees are dying, and if our bees die, we die. So
Yeah. No, what a great experience, though.
absolutely,
Yeah.
it was very informative, and it was fun to go up to Denver and present it and read it out to everybody. And
Yeah. Oh, you did? Okay. I
yeah.
wasn't sure.
yeah, it was definitely nerve-wracking, but
Yeah.
I think it was good for little, 15-year-old me or so.
Sure. Well, they say watch the sausage being made.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So you talked about writing poetry and that they were mostly haiku. I know you have a haiku in there. Can you access that?
Absolutely, I'd be
Yeah.
happy to. Let's see. The haiku that I wrote that got published is, "Ode to a bad haircut, I tried. My bangs need a trim. With confidence, I snip them. I cry in anguish."
Yeah. And I know that there's well, I don't know all the names, but a format for haiku, and then there are things that Wait, is it 3 lines? It's like
It's-
575 or something?
That's exactly it. 3 lines with 5 syllables in the first line, 7 in the second, and 5 in the third.
Okay. Have you ever heard of the 6-word poem?
I'm sure that I have.
I think it was invented by, or at least made famous by, Hemingway. And his famous 6-word poem is, "For sale, baby shoes, never worn."
I have heard of the 6-word poems
Yeah.
before, yeah.
Yeah. I was in a class and we each did 6-word poems. I remember one of the women said, and this is 2 lines of 3 rather than 3 lines of 2, but she said, "When pigs fly, look out below."
That one's a lot more lighthearted than the first one.
Yeah, oh my goodness, that gets right to the heart of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to read a couple of things, and so I was in this Paper Gardens thing as well, and this was a poem that was, they don't say win, you don't win anymore, you're selected.
Yeah.
I guess that's more PC. And so one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is, you could call it a prompt or a trigger. Obviously, I think both of yours stemmed from a real incident.
Yep.
Cutting your bangs. Well, this poem is called Reunion, and it actually was triggered by, I saw a fella who had the kind of teeth that I'm going to talk about. Without the salute, I wouldn't have known him. His teeth have become little yellow corn kernels, worn small over the years, hardly large enough now to chew. Small, too, are his steps as he comes to embrace me. But over dinner, I remember his voice, its pitch and its cadence. I sit across the table, enduring the strength of his opinions, drinking his pretty good wine as he recalls episodes I already know because I was there too. The hour grows late, but he has more stories to tell, so we linger, my friend and me. And so that's where that came from.
That's beautiful.
I also, so another example, or some examples, I wanted to brag about this guy. This is Ted Kooser, and has written several volumes of poetry. This is my favorite. It's called Flying by Night is the title. And if I can do this fairly quickly. Speaking of things that inspire, where do ideas come from? This poem of his is called Just Now. Just now, if I look back down the cool street of the past, I can see street lamps, one for each year, lighting small circles of time into which someone will step if I squint. If I try hard enough, circles smaller and smaller, leading back to the one faint point at the start, like a star. So many of them are empty now, those circles of roadside and grass. In one, the moth of some feeling still flutters, unspoken, the cold darkness around it, enormous. So I like Ted Kooser's poems because I think they're accessible, and yet that doesn't mean they're simple. Mm-hmm. When he talks about the moth of some feeling, and what a wonderful way to grasp at something sort of ethereal.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, what got me into writing poetry when I was little, and I've always loved reading poetry. My inspiration was actually you. I don't know if you remember this or not,
No.
but I was in 3rd or 4th grade, and you got me a children's book of poems. It was a compilation from a bunch of different poets.
Oh my gosh.
And I think this compilation was by, I want to say the name was Carolyn Keene or Carolyn Keaton, something like that. And we would sit together and read through the whole book of poems over the course of several days. and you and I would break them down, that you would read it, I'd read it, and then we'd read it line by line together. Well, what does this section mean? What does that mean? So from a very young age of 9, 10, however old, to understand, like, reading them the first time through, you have no idea what they're talking about half the time, and then reading them together, breaking them down, that was a huge...
Gee, I wish I remembered that. It sounds terrific.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, and were they rhyming poems?
They were all kinds of poems,
Yeah.
everything from poems that were pages long to haikus and sonnets and all different kinds, and they were broken down by theme. So there was a section for animals.
Oh.
There was a section for nature. There was a section for silly poems. Yeah, they had all different kinds. I'll have to bring it over sometime for us to go over it together.
I told somebody today, actually, about when I had gone to Disneyland to look at some work, and I was taking pictures of some things that we were going to bid on to make. And I took a picture of the costumes for the parade, and one of those costume heads was the Beast, and I was sort of scolded about that in a nice way, because they don't want what they call the magic to be dispelled by taking this out. And then you remember what happened.
Didn't they send me a signed picture or something?
The Beast signed a picture for, and
Beast is my favorite.
Yeah, I apologize. I told our guide that I, of course, meant no harm by that, but that my granddaughter, and I think you were 3 or 4?
Probably, yeah.
At the time, and that the Beast was your favorite character. And so here, 2 weeks later, in the mail, we got an 8x10 glossy of the Beast signed to you.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I want to read this one as well. And this is, again, it's what triggered the idea. And so this is Ted Kuzer, and the title is 5 p.m. The pigeon flies to her resting place on the window ledge above the traffic, and her shadow, which cannot fly, climbs swiftly up the bricks to meet her there. Just so are you and I gathered at 5 o'clock, your bicycle left by the porch, the wind still ringing in it, and my shoes by the bed still warm from walking home to you. And he has more than one poem about his son, but I loved especially that the shadow can't fly, but that it climbs the bricks and they get there at the same time.
Yeah.
Of course they do.
That line stood out to me as well.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to indulge myself, I guess, because I keep thinking about where ideas come from. So I'm going to actually read 2 poems. This one came about because I was, again, slightly scolded. I think I had said something about cold radiating from a concrete slab. And my brother said to me, coal doesn't radiate. So it wound up in a poem. And this is called Absence. I asked a friend, can you feel what isn't there? Of course not, he said. My friend is sharp, scientific. Think of it this way, he continued. You can't project darkness. There's no such thing as a flash dark, only a flash light. Or consider that it's impossible to hear silence. His advice eased my mind. Now I know this pain I feel, like the ache of a severed limb, isn't because you're gone. Kind of like that.
I like it too.
Yeah. And I'll do one more. And this was, I used to have a sort of a collection of cameras, and I thought this is dumb, and I was going to give them all to the Habitat for Humanity Restore. And some may have even been digital, but some certainly were film cameras. And at some point I thought, gee, maybe it has film in it. And I opened one and ruined, they did have film, ruined if there was an exposure on there. But I quickly closed it and I wound it up And I took the little film and mailed it off to a processing place, and thought, maybe there'll be something.
Yeah.
And sometime later, I got these back, and they were like little black square tiles, except there was a sort of a vague image on one. And it prompted me to write this poem. The couple in the photograph. The woman in the photograph wears a cloche hat and long coat, whose collar is an animal with doll's eyes. She stands square to the camera, holding her purse at her knees, two-handed by its long strap. The man beside her is tall and hatless and turns slightly toward her. His tweed coat is folded over one arm, the other holds her waist. His grin won't be contained. The photo itself, with the courthouse in the background, appears washed too many times. Its lines have gone soft, the image is grainy, as if seen through a window screen. And yet the couple, married just 10 minutes, believe they live in modern times. If asked, they would share their plans for a home, for children, and in the far, far future, they'd say this with a laugh, retirement. What they can't see over the great distance that separates us is they are already dead. And I guess I've thought about before, right now is the oldest you've ever been, or I've ever been, or any of us has ever been. But at some point, this will be the past.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was fun to explore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like poems like that make you think. I'm sappy. I love a good sad poem, or a poem
Yeah.
that is very heartfelt, just
Sure.
very full of emotion.
Sure.
And actually, I suppose an inspiration for my prose, that last night I dreamt I was old. Obviously the main inspiration was my dream, but I think part of my my wording in it, and I don't know, adjectives maybe, I was inspired by, oh gosh, what is it called? It's by Alfred Lord Tennyson. He has a poem, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock.
Oh, sure.
My favorite poem. And in it, I think that he was in his early 20s when he wrote it, but the whole thing is about growing old
Mm-hmm.
and living for today. His whole poem is he's debating, should I eat this peach? Should I wear these pants? All of these small insignificant things that he doesn't do. And then suddenly he's old, he's hunched, he's losing hair. He measures his life
That's
by
his
coffee
dream,
spoons.
isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my favorite line in it is, I measure my life in coffee spoons. And I think that just shows the monotony of day after day after day, doing the same thing and not living for the day, because today might be all you've got.
Yeah, and I don't know, you say monotony, which it's repetitive, certainly. But I think if you have appreciation, even when you say, there was a cartoon I saw one time, the character dragged himself out of bed, and he said, every day it's the same thing, breathe, breathe, breathe. But if you recognize that and appreciate it, I think that's maybe a life well lived.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not the thing itself. It's what does it mean to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else that you've got? No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it at that then. Thank you. I'm gonna. I think it's called breaking the fourth wall. I'm gonna say thank you, honey.
You're welcome, Grandpa.
So thank you everyone for watching. We'll be back. Actually, next week I'm going to talk with a fella who is both a wine taster and a mathematician. So I've got a couple of questions for him. That'll be fun. Thank you, and we'll see you next time on The Writing Live.